Good morning, friends. This is Angela from Art of Creation Homestead. Today, you are going to come on a walk with me through the garden, and you're going to see things firsthand as I'm seeing them. You get to see everything like I'm seeing it. But the biggest point of this is I'm going to drop some homestead encouragement on you this morning. Because the truth of the matter is, we all need it right now. So many times, this time of year, Jason has to have a little talk with me and make me realize a few things. And he's already had to do that this year. When spring first starts, and you get to plant, and you get to sow beautiful seeds, and even when the first harvest starts coming on, you're so excited. You just can't wait. You can't wait to have that first ripe tomato. You can't wait to taste that first ripe tomato. Speaking of tomatoes, look at this, a giant. Isn't that awesome? You can't wait to taste that first tomato. You can't wait to have the first beans. You can't wait for all of this stuff. Oh, I can't wait to break beans. I do it too. And you're praising God for every tiny little cherry tomato that comes out of the garden. But then all of a sudden, everything starts hitting at once. I mean, look at all these blossoms. Look at all those buds and all those blossoms on these beans. You see all of this stuff starting to come on. You see that in just a matter of a few days, you could literally be swamped with work. You could literally be, oh no, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And you wake up in the morning and you're telling yourself your to-do list. You're making this huge to-do list. I'm telling you this as I walk through the jungle of tomato plants. You're making yourself this humongous to-do list for the day. And you're saying, oh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Today I have to pick beans. I have to can beans. I have to pick tomatoes. I have to can tomatoes. I have to make salsa. I have to do this. I have to do that. And I have to milk the cow. I have to milk the goats. I have to feed the goats. I have to do it. Have to. I do it all the time. I make myself this huge to-do list. Oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. And so many times, I'm reminded of when I was so excited about all of these little tomatoes. When I was super excited about them and couldn't wait for this to happen. And I'm reminded of all winter how I long for this time. And now here I am, making everything as though it's a to-do list. Everything's a to-do list. I have to do this, I have to do that. When really it should be I get to list. I mean, look at it. It's still the same stuff that God was providing for you. That you were so thankful for every tiny little cherry tomato. It's still the same stuff. Actually, we should be praising God so much more. We should be praising God even more because of the abundance that we are seeing. The abundance that is being provided. But instead, we start looking at it as chores. We start looking at all of it as chores. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. So many times, Jason reminds me. He tells me, because for those of you who don't know, Jason works a 40+ hour a week job away from the homestead. So he doesn't get to experience this stuff every day like I do. He doesn't get to see things change daily like I do. He doesn't get to see the wonder of the morning like you're seeing with me right now, when the garden is in its glory hour. He doesn't get to see that. He doesn't get to see that, people, like I do. He has to leave the homestead every day and go to a job. So when he's off work on the weekends, he's out here all the time, and he's working, and he's doing it happily, singing while he's working. And he's constantly telling me, don't look at it as though you have to do this. Look at it as though you get to do this. You don't have to do this. You don't have to pick beans. You don't have to pick tomatoes. You don't have to can tomatoes. You don't have to make pickles. You don't have to pick cucumbers. You get to. You get to take part in God's provision. You get to take part in it. He has provided all of this wonderful stuff for you. Where so many people are running to the store looking for this food and that food, and there's still shortages here and there. Worried about whether they can use coins or not because coin shortage. And worried about this and worried about that. When you get to go into your backyard, when you get to walk onto your property, and you get to experience God's glory and God's provision every single day in a brand new way. You get to walk into your yard and pick food that God has grown for you and provided for you. You get to know where it came from. You get to do this. You get to put it up for the winter, to provide for your family, to put food in your bellies. You get to do this. You don't have to do it. You get to do it. It's a privilege. Homesteading is a privilege. It's an honor. You get to do this. I just wanted to encourage you today to realize the glory that is around you, to not lose the love of this, to not get so caught up in the work that you forget the blessing. So many times I get so caught up in the work that I forget just how much of a blessing this life is. And I forget to look around and see God's beauty and God's glory. I mean, in every one of these cucumber blossoms, there's so much blessing and so much glory. And each one of these beautiful little ears of corn that are forming, it's another blessing. Each one of those is a wrapped up gift from God. Each one of those It's Him saying, I love you and I'm providing for you. And all He asks of you is that you go in there to that garden. You go into that backyard. Even if you're not a homesteader and you just have a beautiful backyard garden. All He's asking of you is that you go into that backyard. You go into that garden. You pick His abundance that He has provided for you. You preserve His abundance that He has provided for you. That's all He asks. Is that you take care of what He has worked hard to give you. Because you can say all you want to. Oh, I've done this hard work. I've done this hard work. Yes, you can plant the seeds. You can do this. You can do that. But you've got to remember that God gives the increase. God is the one who provides. Remember, as life starts getting busy and hectic right now, remember, you don't have to do this. You get to do this. This is a blessing. Don't forsake the blessing for the work. Remember that every day that you get to do this life is another blessing, is another gift from God. Every one of these beautiful tomatoes is another gift from God. Don't forget to praise Him. Don't get so caught up in the work that you lose the ability to praise Him for everything He is providing and all the prayers He is answering. All the prayers that you prayed over your garden, you're now seeing be answered. Don't look at them as a curse. See them for the blessing they are. Remember, you don't have to do this. You get to do this. You get to participate in God's amazing creation. You get to come out and harvest God's blessings. You get to preserve God's blessings. It's just a little word of encouragement for you. This is Angela from Art of Creation Homestead. God bless and have a blessed day.